Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. We are a group of Italian students from the University of Salento, passionate about modeling and data management, and we present here our work. We have tried to respond to the request received by UNICC for the Refugee Crisis Predict Forced Displacement Challenge, whose aim is to develop a model able to predict future refugee population figures by country of origin in 5 years' time. Emigration, as can be seen in the graph presented, has a constantly increasing trend over the last 50 years. Focusing on the period between 2010 and 2019, it is possible to notice an even more significant impact of this phenomenon, so much so that in this period there has been a percentage increase of 174%, reaching a final value of 68 million euros. As can be seen from the graph provided by Uppsala University, conflicts divided by type of violence are concentrated primarily in two areas of the world, Central Africa and the Middle East. In fact, as we will see shortly, it is precisely the countries belonging to these two macro areas from which most displaced persons come. It is therefore possible to understand the importance of conflict in the migration phenomenon. The answer to the previous question is yes. In the graph presented, in fact, we note that the countries of major origin of displaced persons are Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen and Sudan, countries belonging to the conflict areas mentioned above. Since most of the displaced people come from the countries highlighted in the previous graph, through this map we can highlight how the number of victims caused by migration is higher in the same countries and in other countries belonging to the same geographical area. The highest number of deaths is in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq and Yemen, countries that, as seen above, have a high density of conflict and are among the first countries of origin of those who emigrate. We then asked ourselves, which countries are taking the most refugees? Here, we can note by both sides the countries with the largest number of refugees. Turkey turns out to be the first, as might be expected to the geographical proximity to the countries seen above. Thus, there is also a correlation between geographic proximity and fewer conflicts between the host country and the refugees' country of origin. In the proposed chart, we also see an increase in the number of asylum requests still unprocessed. Of interest to us was also assessing to understand whether the country with the most refugees was also the one with the most pending asylum claims. Our research did not lead to the identification of this correlation, so much so that the country with the most unresolved asylum claims is the US.
This is the pipeline that we followed. The first step that we did was the data exploration, as we saw from the previous slide. So we tried to understand the data and to visualize the data. Then we went through the data cleaning. That was also the biggest part of our work, and we handled the missing values and we did the data imputation. Then we did some feature engineering to develop and to encode the variables and the feature. We also applied some multicollinearity analysis and we did the final merging of our datasets. For the model selection, we tried several regressors and with different methods from sklearn. We tried, for example, lasso, regressor, elastic net, decision tree, and at the end we chose the random forest as the best model for as prediction. Then we split the model 80% for the training set and 20% for the test set on the merged data frame, and then we predicted the values, and we compared the actual values against the predicted values for each country and for each metrics, the ref, the asylum and the IDP. Now we can see the last visualization about the data frame that we created with the prediction that we did. So last but not last, this is our technologies and setup to ensure the reproducibility of our study. We use Python 3 and Jupyter Notebook as scientific environment, and the main libraries that we use are sklearn and pandas for the machine learning tasks. And at the end, we use Tableau for the data visualization.